Good evening. Welcome to Main Street Sports. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars. Real quick, got to give a shout out to Garen. Got me my new Stetson hat, so that arrived.
Oh,
So I'm pretty happy. I got me a Stetson Hatters hat.
that is cool, dude. Well
Yeah.
done. Well done.
We took a couple days off. Kale's menstruating, so
Oh boy,
no.
dude. It's
Kale's going through it, so
it's been a wild weekend. I didn't even get to I watched college football on that Saturday, but I was struggling to focus. That's all. Let's just say that.
yeah. No, it has been quite a weekend. It was funny because on last Wednesday and last Friday, we said don't go to the pumpkin patch because this is the weekend that chaos happened last year. And we had more chaos this year. What a slate of games Saturday. And even the favorites that won, they were trailing or tied or like they were going through it at some point.
Man, there was a point in time like during it would have been like this first halves of the afternoon
The
slate, I want to
230s.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like, okay, Cincinnati just took down Iowa State. And then it was like, okay, Vandy took an early lead with Bama.
Yeah.
Florida was already all over Texas,
Yeah.
and
Maryland was up 20-0 on Washington.
yeah, and then obviously the whole thing with Penn State UCLA, like we were all just like, what is going on
Yeah.
here?
Because
So
like the 230 window, you had to like, it didn't matter how many TVs you had, because of
no,
course, it's not one where you can go to the ESPN app and have multi-screen up. Because you had the Penn State game on BTN, you
hmm
had our game on Fox that we were watching, or Fox
yeah,
Sports One. Then you had Alabama and Vanderbilt on ABC. CBS had Ohio State, Minnesota. Like, there was so much going on, and I just couldn't keep up.
yeah. I actually use YouTube TV now for that multi-view stuff, so I was able to kind of get some of the crisscrossing around
Oh,
with
that's good.
with my other TV, my non-sound, but
Yeah,
like when the Huskers were playing, it was kind of like you're kind of limited because they're also in that 2:30 window, and
well,
you're
and I was
naturally
kind
kind of
of
watching.
hoping because Nebraska jumped out to that 14-0 lead, I could put that like on the laptop and put the big games on the TV,
Sure,
and
yeah,
then shit hit the fan.
right.
Well, there was a 45 mile an hour wind gust that hit.
Yeah, well, that was obviously a huge story with that game. So
Yeah, but since this was not one of the games we had listed, you want to hit on UCLA because we talk about winners.
man, I'll tell you what, like we went from like putting UCLA on the 0-12 watch after taking Stanford
Yeah,
on off of it, and like and then all of a sudden they go just beat the number 7 team in the country, Penn State. Like, I mean, the whole dynamic with like clearing out coordinator Tino Sinceri was like not the OC anymore, like
yeah,
having Neuheisel's that's his kid,
that's
right?
his son. Yeah,
Yeah, so Jerry Neuheisel is like calling plays all like for having control of the offense for like 2 days prior to that game.
yeah.
Like
And
it just
Nico
goes
has his
out and
best game as a Bruin.
oh yeah, and it's like, well, geez, maybe they found something, like
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense how and why that team was so bad because you have to
but
know like their athletes are better than New Mexico,
yeah,
so
but it makes you like the one thing that you always hear coaches say: don't let one game be the reason why you lose two. I can't remember the correct terminology for that, but like
yeah.
clearly the Oregon game had a lasting impact on Penn State.
Well, you couple the emotional game coming back, losing in double overtime, then you got to go travel all the way across the country, like everybody's like save me with that stuff, but like I don't know. And it kind of Franklin kind of came out with this like narrative of I wasn't like too stoked about with where
Yeah,
they went to Disney, like did up the Disneyland thing, and like
yeah,
that was probably a mistake because it's not a bowl game. You know, you're not
yeah,
out there for extended time. You're out there for traditional time.
yeah,
And so like maybe that played into it, but at the same time, you know, that group is 0 and 4. Like
yeah,
you don't expect to have that kind of change. Like
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you were
Yeah, they
to play
can't
up that same
complain.
scenario again, like you can't
Washington
tell
flew
me.
from Seattle to Maryland and won. So
Yeah, I'm just saying like but if they went up and did the whole like Disneyland thing and not take the game
yeah.
seriously, like you can't say that that was
Well,
the
maybe they went to the
wrong
White
move.
House.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
know.
people from the PNW love the current regime, so maybe they went there.
Yeah.
Um, no, so it was shocking, and Penn State now remains one of 12 teams, along with Texas, who we'll talk about here in a minute, are one of they're two of 11 teams in the country that are in a Power Four conference that don't have a Power Four win.
Yeah. That's really quite a deal, like considering the top two teams in the country to begin the year. Like
Yeah,
we're in week
three
going
of
into
the
week
top four are out of the rankings.
out of the rankings, but like we're going into week 7,
Yeah,
and they still haven't beaten a Power Four team.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So, and Penn State's got a shot this week. They got what, Northwestern, so they should get back right.
Well, Northwestern beat UCLA,
Yeah,
so but you know, again, like I said, like something about Jerry Neuheisel and
yeah,
creating creating a scheme that Penn State obviously didn't prepare for. You know, like there's some things to
yeah,
be said about that. Running some new scheme and jumping out to a
yeah,
quick lead and then hoping that it holds. You know, so
yeah. So then we'll start with Saturday morning. Cincinnati jumps out to a huge lead on Iowa State. Iowa State comes back to make it close, and then Cincinnati gets a final dagger to win 38-30.
yeah, that was a game that I had on my phone. Like my son was playing his flag football game in the town nearby or whatever, and so like I was like running it on my YouTube TV off of my
Yeah,
phone, but in my ear because I was like, I was just, I mean, I've been pimping up Cincinnati for how many weeks, and so like
yeah,
I was like, I do not want to miss any of this, like even if it sounds like radio, you know, like, and they just, I mean, they were gashing them on the ground,
yeah.
you know, that outside
And
zone stretch play,
clearly
like,
having Corleone back this week, like he's such a major factor in that Cincinnati defense.
oh yeah, like if you don't have him, like that 3-2-5 or 3-2-6 like falls apart.
Yeah,
You know, because you have to have a dominant D tackle like that to even consider playing a 3-2-6.
yeah,
Like, so I don't know. Like, I was just really impressed. Sorsby, like didn't have the most efficient game, but Iowa State's defense is pretty good. So like, you weren't gonna expect him to be at that
yeah.
like the
But
crazy
he made
clip
the
that he
plays when he
was.
needed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean
So
that
like,
that final drive they went down and scored, like that was what he couldn't do against Nebraska.
yeah, yeah, that's valid fact right there. You know,
So
so
and now
um,
Cincinnati looks like they could be 8-0, 9-0 heading to Utah. Well, I guess Utah comes to them, but
no, it's in Utah.
is okay.
I think it's in Utah because that's why I was sketched out about it.
Yeah,
Because that's a like as you said, and all the pundits were saying, like that's or Sierra Wright was saying, you know, it's like the hardest place to play.
yeah.
So
Well, Texas Tech, who they'll be in our headline segment, they made it work.
yeah. Now,
Um,
one thing with Cincinnati, I might as well just clear the air here. So if Nebraska was to play Cincinnati right now, like I don't think Cincinnati or I don't think Nebraska would win. Like that's where
oh,
I'm
I
just
do
gonna I'm just
easily.
gonna I'm just gonna come
easily.
out and say it right now. So
Yeah.
there's nothing that shows me that now that there's game tape on the, like their defense would be all over Raiola more than they already were. So
No, I think Nebraska wins that by 14.
I don't know what you guys are seeing yet, but I guess we'll get to that some other point.
Yeah. Um, the next one was Notre Dame and Boise. Low scoring. Well, compared to last week for Notre Dame, but they pull out a 28-7 victory over Boise State, and I only watched one drive of that game.
I was gonna
And
say
that was
I didn't
and that
see
was the
any of
final
it.
drive. Boise State was going down because I wanted them to cover. It ended up being a push.
Yeah, I didn't see much of the game other than the very beginning. I saw Notre Dame score early ish to make it, but then it kind of sat at 7-0 for a while. I thought,
Yeah.
or was it 7-7 maybe?
No, I don't know.
But
I
either
know
way,
it was 7-0 for a good amount of time.
okay. Well, either way, I didn't watch a ton of it. And were you surprised by the final score,
Mm, I thought
considering the
it would have
urgency
been
that?
like higher scoring, like a
Yeah,
42-17, or I
I
guess 4.
wasn't I wasn't shocked that Boise only scored 7. I was shocked that Notre Dame didn't get at least another. I mean, at least to 35. Like being to 20 held to 28 was a shocker to me.
Yeah,
But I know that Boise State plays good defense, and they always
yeah.
have. So
So then we had the 2:30 slate, and we both called it with Florida beating Texas. It was just a feeling, man, and obviously Dallas Wilson showed why there was so much talk about him.
yep, I mean that's why we brought him up the other night. Like that it was supposed to be a big impact to the Gators offense, and it freaking showed like crazy. I mean, did that tightrope down the sideline?
Yeah,
I mean, I know everybody that's listening to this, they've definitely heard it, or they definitely saw it already at this point. Like, that was incredible. With a dude draped all over you, and you have the wherewithal to tiptoe down the sideline while you're pirouetting around in it, like, just crazy. Just so crazy.
yeah.
Freshman. Like, just fits in with that group that's like Decorian Moore,
Well,
Malachi Tony.
and the other thing is, we talked about Florida needing to get their running game going because Jaden Baugh was averaging
Yeah.
6.5 a carry. Well, he ran for 100 yards Saturday.
Yeah, I kept thinking about it every time they ran the ball for like a 6 yard gain. I was like, "Oh, there's Cody's thing right there."
Yeah.
I was like,
And then Arch Manning played like Arch Manning.
"Yeah, yeah, it
So,
was crazy." I mean, I didn't get to watch a ton of that one either. I mean, like it's just like what we just said. There's so many good things going. The 2:30 window was way too like clustered with the get
yeah,
best games.
yeah.
Like I mean, the evening window was good, but I mean, one or two of those games needed to be in the night window too. I
Or
think.
the 11 o'clock, one or the other.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I thought. I mean, my eyes were glued, absolutely glued to Miami, Florida State. But
Yeah,
we'll get there in a sec.
yeah. So, yeah, Florida wins at 29-21, and Texas tried to come back late, but it was just they got themselves in too big of a hole.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Alabama takes down Vandy. Pavia has 3 turnovers, and it was closer than the score showed, but clearly DeBoer took some offense to all the talking Vanderbilt's been doing because
Mm.
instead of kneeling the ball out at the end, he ran it in for a touchdown.
Yeah. Backdoor cover.
Yep.
Yeah. You said it. It was like right when it happened because I didn't. Like I said, like it was hard to watch a lot of games because of the sickness and stuff, not feeling well. But like, catching bits and pieces of it, like, and looking over and seeing Bama was in control of that game most of the game, other than early. They kind of, Vandy hit some plays. But there was just no way. There was no way that that anybody should have really thought that Vandy had a chance to win that because of last year. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like Bama was going to come in so laser focused, regardless of having come
That
off
was
that win
tied
against
14-14 for a
Georgia.
long time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you just knew that it was gonna, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't gonna stay that way. Like, I just never in my million years thought that Vandy was gonna come out and win that game. So
No. No. I was just surprised they had kept it as close as they did.
yeah,
Um, then we had Washington, which I watched a little bit of that, but it was very stressful.
I just kept scoreboard. It was up on the screen, but it was just kept scoreboard watching. When I kept seeing that it was like 13-0 and 20-0, like I was just like, holy crap. You know, like at first I was like, okay, maybe Washington's not very good, and then I started twisting it and being like, well, maybe Maryland's defense is legit, and then they come find out they're leading the Big Ten in sacks, you know, and they got their hands on Damon Williams a ton in that game too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so then Washington woke up in the fourth quarter to come back and win 24-20.
yeah, too bad for Maryland, you know, really, because I was watching some of the things on X and like their fans were talking about how it was like whenever they sell out a stadium, like the Terps always just like
Yeah.
let them down.
Because I think they did a checkerboard theme for the Washington game.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
So
didn't go well. But Washington comes out on top of that one. The night game. Miami took it to Florida State.
yeah, and like so the score when you look in the record books, it's gonna have this freaking close score, but
Yeah.
it was not that close. And to me, I kept saying it to a bunch of different people. This looked like now I'm probably giving Florida State too much credit here, but it's like because of Thomas Castellanos,
Yeah.
it was like 94 Miami versus freaking like 93 Florida State, you
Yeah.
know, because Thomas Castellanos is like Charlie Ward in his build, you know,
Yeah.
running all over the freaking place, you know, and then you have Miami, you got Ruben Bain is like Ray Lewis, and then Carson Beck is like Frank Costa, and
Yeah.
Malachi Tony is like Jonathan Harris, the little scat back
Yeah.
receiver that hurt the Huskers in '94, you know, before we ended up ultimately winning. But I was just like, and they flew around like an old '90s Florida State Miami game.
Yeah.
Like that's where I was kind of getting at with all this, and like,
I I thought there'd be more like bad blood, like pushing and shoving and stuff. And
well,
there was
it's just hard because they haven't been to the pinnacle for so long,
yeah.
like in the same years. So like going back to the '90s, you had Miami, Florida State in opposite freaking conferences. They weren't together yet.
Yeah.
So Miami's winning the Big East, Florida State's winning the ACC. I mean, and then there's just that giant freaking clash every year where both teams are 11-1, 10-2.
Well, and they had Florida State missing wide left like 7 years in a row.
Right, and it's just like the storylines with the way college football's been recently is that it's like, you know, Florida State Miami was the pinnacle in the '90s
Yeah.
along with Nebraska obviously, but it was like those three schools I mean, in large part were the glory years of college football, so to speak, in terms of like life in general. Like the
Yeah.
'90s was the best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It was fantastic time then.
but
Um.
I just thought that that game though, like really, like they just flew around. Like there's a different level of speed to that game.
Yeah.
Even on Florida State's side, as much as they got drilled, like I still thought they played really good on defense, aside from like the points they gave up. But like
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's just two top teams, like in my opinion.
Then Florida State shouldn't lose another game this year.
No, and like
But
it's just like we said about the Virginia game. Virginia, like we said, that was a trap game because of the Miami game that was this week or last
yeah.
week. You know, so like if Florida State played Virginia in Tallahassee, you know, like that may have been or would have been different in my opinion
Yeah.
too.
Well, and the impressive thing was Florida State held Miami to under 100 yards rushing, and that was my key to the game. That why Miami was going to win it was going to be because of their rushing attack.
Yeah, yeah,
But they also let Carson Beck get hot.
right. And when you have receivers like they have in Malachi Tony and the others that they got,
C.J.
like
Daniels, yeah,
yeah, it's just incredible what they can do. Like I fully expect them to. I mean, depending on where the seeding is and all that kind of stuff, like I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that they make the playoff. But
yeah,
like, do they stay away from certain teams? Like I think Miami can win the national title after what I saw.
yeah. I agree.
I mean, they're right. I'm not gonna put them like they're not clear cut,
Yeah,
but I was still reserved on. Are they possible a national title contender? Well, they showed it to me on
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. Um, Louisville, Virginia. That was like the in between the afternoon and evening window.
Mm-hmm.
That went to overtime. Louisville kicks a field goal. Virginia goes down, lose their quarterback on diving for the end zone play, gets hit in the ribs. Sounds like he'll be fine. He'll be back this week. Chandler Morris, but so he
Mm-hmm.
goes out, and very next play they run the ball in to win the game. So Virginia remain. They're 5-1 now. 4-1 now.
5-1.
Yeah,
Yeah, good for them. Really. I think they
so,
won. Did they win 8 games last year? I think
I'm
they've
not
been. I
sure.
think they've actually been okay the last couple
Yeah,
years, but yeah, like that's a team to watch out for. The ACC, like race for second is gonna be interesting.
yeah,
So
yep. And then yeah, because
because now
Virginia doesn't
Florida.
have an ACC loss yet. So
Well, neither does Georgia Tech, and
yeah, no,
so
that's what I mean.
like
Miami,
it's
Louisville, that was their first loss. So
yeah. So Florida State's already sitting there with 2.
yep.
Yeah. So anyway.
Judge just hit a 3-run home run to tie up the game.
Oh, nice. All right. What's next?
Duke at Cal. Cal gets out to a big lead, and then Duke's like, "Yeah, we'll play now."
Probably was a little sleepy.
Yeah,
Little sleepy. It was kickoff. It was kickoff like 11 p.m. their time,
yeah.
midnight their time. I don't know.
3 hours. So it was 10 o'clock our time, so 11 their time. Yeah,
Yeah, so 11 their time, and you're just kicking off, and like that's such a crazy dynamic for an Eastern school to do that out west. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I thought that Duke is the better team, and I'm glad it ended up showing out to be that way. But early on when it was 21-7, Cal, I was just like, oh my goodness, and Cal was just gouging them.
yeah.
Like
Because you had texted me, you're like, "What the f is Cal?"
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's crazy because I don't know, like it's so weird. They're the team that initially in that time you think like, okay, they can play with Duke, who for all intents and purposes can play with, like I think is a ACC dark horse, and then Cal goes and gets beat by a million by South San Diego State. Like that's
yeah,
I can't get my head wrapped around that.
yeah. So it's definitely a weird year. Does Duke have a conference loss? They lost it
That's a
to
good.
Tulane in Illinois. So yeah, they're undefeated in the ACC too.
Yeah, I was gonna say they shouldn't
And
be
they got
slept on
Georgia Tech
either.
October 18th.
That's a big one. I think Duke's gonna win that.
Yeah, the way they're playing right now.
Yeah.
But Georgia Tech having this bye week is going to really help Haynes King.
And Duke is 3-0 in conference.
Yeah,
They're only one of only them and Virginia have played. Oh, never mind. There's a handful that have played 3 games, but
yeah.
there's only a handful that have only played 2 as well. So yeah, Duke
But
beat
they're in that
Duke beat
conference where they
NC.
only play 8 conference games, though.
Oh, that's right. So they beat NC State, Syracuse, Cal. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they have Georgia Tech at Clemson. They do play Virginia at home, like sometime in middle of November. And then they have, oh, scary one with the Bill Belichick's. So,
Yeah, Clemson throttled them, man.
was that a get right game, or is that just how bad Bill Belichick's
I
team
think that's
is?
just how bad North Carolina is
Yeah. Well, it's safe to say that that's not an experiment that's gonna work.
working. Yeah. So
So
that's kind of our review of the games from the weekend. Anything in the NFL catch you? Broncos, baby.
that was an impressive win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised
I
because our
love
buddy
the
down there,
the Eagles fans that are clamoring about the officials. Well, the officials didn't blow a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter.
yeah. So Garen, Garen on Sunday did his recap show and said something about bet the house on Philly, and he's a Broncos fan too.
Yeah.
And like he just thought there was no way that the Denver would have a chance, and so like I was like, well, it's a good thing you didn't actually bet your house on Philly.
Yeah. So I had texted in my fantasy football group. Me and my buddy Alex are huge Broncos fans, and then our buddy Tim, he lives in Philadelphia. He born raised there, and
Hmm.
he's a huge Eagles fan. And I texted Broncos by 4 any given Sunday, and he Tim had said back, he's like, Broncos freaking couldn't beat a wet blanket by 4, and then Broncos win by 4. It was
That's funny.
yeah,
Classic.
yeah. But they also like Saquon was just absent, like just left him out of the game plan apparently.
It's unbelievable what teams will do. I think sometimes like in the NFL they purposely game plan around other individuals
Yeah,
in certain games because they think they can get by with maybe like I don't know how that all works, but I mean just based on like kind of how you see fantasy number trends and that kind of
yeah,
thing, like certain dudes like have an off week because you should win that game, but it's like the
yeah,
NFL is so freaking deep. Like as bad as the Browns are, or whoever, like they beat the Packers that one day, and
yeah.
so like it's
Well,
just
and then you
crazy.
had the Patriots take down the Bills on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, crazy. And I didn't watch a lot of NFL either, but I did watch the Cowboys, but which I'm not a Cowboys fan, but that's what was on locally.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, I didn't see. I saw the Chargers got beat, which sucks. And I watched some of the game last night on Monday Night Football.
yeah. Well, Trevor Lawrence gets the
That was great.
Jaguars to 4-1.
That was crazy at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So with that
Normally it's
scramble.
Mahomes that's making the big drive, and
Oh, did you see him come out and post that deal about how like this is the worst officiated game I've ever seen? And it's like,
um,
geez, do you see it from the other perspective in every other Chiefs game?
yeah, right.
So
Typical,
yeah,
typical Mahomes. Couple headlines we can hop into. The first one is it was officially voted on and approved. The transfer window for college football will be January 2nd through the 12th, or the 15th, 2nd through the 15th. So
mm.
that came out today, and Texas Tech changed their logo to something a kindergartner could draw.
Oh my gosh, dude, how can you go from that? I think that last logo was awesome.
Yeah,
In comparison, like for
yeah,
sure, obviously in comparison, because what you have now is just like, yeah, my son could have done that.
yeah. So, and I don't
So
get like the changing of the hand signal.
no,
Like, literally, they just went from right to left.
so they decided that once they rebranded with all this money and stuff, that they're gonna rebrand the logo to be super simple, like it came out of the freaking '80s. Like
Yeah,
that's what it looks like
yeah,
old logo that came out of the '80s. That's just not gonna be. I mean, it's just a block T with another block T in front
yeah.
of it.
And they took the
instead of
white
the
out of it.
Yeah, instead of all the like multi-tiered like look and shadowing and all
Yeah,
that, like it's just it's gross.
I like the one with the Red Raider on the horse.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that, but it also can be a lot of like a lot of stuff happening going on. So I get it.
right.
Did you catch any other things that happened?
No. Says North Carolina scraps its plans for Hulu documentary.
Yeah, I bet.
It sounds like Mateer's trying to play versus Texas. That's
Yeah.
one that I'm seeing right now. So he's trying to lobby for that. So if that'll obviously make a huge difference in that game.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk about that on next show.
Yeah. Friday. Want to get into the top 30?
Yes, because I am feeling it right now. So there it is. Boom.
All
We'll
right.
have to cut
Ohio
this
State
episode
remains
short.
1. Miami hops Oregon, which those three I think are all interchangeable at the top.
Yeah.
They've separated from everybody else.
Yep.
Ole Miss 4, Texas Tech 5, Alabama 6, followed by A&M, Oklahoma, Indiana, Georgia to round out the top 10. At 11, LSU, followed by Notre Dame, Michigan, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech. At 16, we got Missouri, Illinois, Utah, Virginia, BYU. 21, Vanderbilt, followed by Cincinnati, Arizona State, Nebraska, Florida State. And rounding out the top 30, USC, Penn State, Texas, Iowa State, Memphis. We're probably the only people that still have Penn State and Texas ranked somehow.
Yeah, I mean I told you guys how that was in the text group, but like our pal Levi, who I respect I really do. I respect his opinion more than probably a lot of people. He watches college football with a very non-biased view.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like listening to his takes because he gives a good take and a realistic take and
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have knee-jerk reaction like I get accused of by you a lot. So, in any case, he's the one that actually had Penn State still in the top 20.
Really?
Yep, he had them I think at 17 still, so that's what got them those points in our little four-man poll
Yeah.
here. So, Texas I think we gave a little bit more, like there was a lot of I mean, I know I had them at like 28, and
Yeah, I didn't have them at all.
yeah. So like I can justify Texas being in there. Probably a little bit more than Penn State, but
Yeah, because Texas loss is.
I mean, yes, it's to a bad record of Florida, but Florida's
Yeah.
losses aren't to bad teams either. Like UCLA got beat up good by New Mexico,
Yeah.
So like it's a little bit different. And then yet here's Penn State in front of Texas. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know about that, but and they
Yeah.
might play their way back into it too. So you
They
never know.
could. Well, they got to go to A&M this weekend, so that'll be a test.
Who does?
Florida.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking Texas. I wasn't talking Florida. I was saying like Penn State, Texas can play their way back
Oh,
into
okay.
it.
I thought you were talking about Florida.
Yeah, well, Florida could too with their schedule. Like if I mean, I don't expect them to go on a run of any kind, but that was something that Joel Klatt did talk about. Was like, well, what if they hypothetically finished 9-3 with how their remaining schedule sets up, which is a
That would
freaking
only be one
crazy
loss in
gauntlet.
the SEC.
Yeah, and then they are easily in the playoff.
Yeah.
Like that's the only scenario where I think the only scenario where 9-3 probably has an argument is like the remaining schedule Florida has.
Yeah. So we'll be back with a longer show on Friday.
Yeah.
Get yourself healthy. Get to bed.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I'm getting like hot and stuff just sitting here.
Yeah. So thanks for watching abbreviated episode. Like, follow, subscribe, 5 stars, and we'll be back on Friday.
See you guys.